Alrighty, so right after some good snowfall that we got, I'm back at the cabin again, and I want to do something a little bit different. I've got, again, a lot of requests. I've been getting quite a few new subscribers, and I've been getting some good questions, so I have a list that I will go through that subscribers gave to me. If you guys hear some noises in the background, it's going to be the dog. She's having a great time digging up all the branches from underneath the snow. Got about 5 inches of snow just since I'm here, so we had a good little storm last night. Not the biggest, but still, it makes the trees in the forest look great. So yeah, noises are going to be her going crazy in the background. So now, let's get started. I'll pull up my little list and try to answer you guys' questions as best as I can. So, start off with number one. I have my phone here and have my little list on there. Subscriber asked me that he would like a Q&A, and I have a whole lot of questions from multiple people. So, how much time do I spend at the cabin? I get this one pretty much a lot. People think that I live full-time here. This is a very popular question. I do not. I need to have a job, and I need to work, and I need to buy materials and stuff for here. So for now I have a job, and I don't live full-time here. So I try to spend 2 to 3, maybe 4 days in the winter, because my job is a seasonal job. So I try to spend as much time here as I can during the winter. Second question. How far am I from a store or a town? I'm about, I'd say, with a vehicle, probably 20 minutes maybe, I would think, from a little town. I think there's like 3-4 buildings. There's one gas station, I think, one grocery store, and one restaurant. I think that's about it. There's nothing, not much. It's a very small town. So yeah, I'm pretty secluded here. So another, I like this question, so it's a good one. So what other YouTubers that I watch? People that I started watching quite a while back. They started building a log cabin. It would be, the channel's called Kyle's Cabin. If I remember, I'll link it in the bottom of the video. But he's just, I guess, another young man trying to build a cabin. I think he's on his second one now that he built. And he usually has his girlfriends in the video. And they go there and spend some time there, and they have their dog. So it's just fun little entertaining videos. There's obviously the one that everybody knows. There's My Self-Reliance, so Sean James. He's probably the biggest cabin channel there is. He built a cabin entirely with hand tools, and now he's rebuilding one on new land that I could understand. I watch him sometimes. And there's also, that I got informed, I started watching him because we kind of had the same name. So him is Northern Woodsman 1, I think. And the man's name is Martin, for one I could understand. And he goes to his cabin also pretty much in the winter. The wind is making the snow fall off the trees. But he goes to his cabin pretty much in the winter. And he has a whole bunch of contraptions that he makes to drag his gear and utilities and everything that he needs. So yeah, I usually watch him too. He has some good content. And yeah, that's just a few. I watch other survival channels, but I don't really know off the top of my head. Another question from the same person. So what made me want to have a cabin? Pretty much I've always wanted one since I'm a kid, I guess. It's just something that I've wanted. The plan was never to make a cabin. It really, honestly, wasn't. I just wanted a little shelter I think maybe in my earlier videos, maybe, I'm not sure, there might have been a few that I covered my little shelter. It was just like the random, like, dead standing trees and stuff that I'd pick up, and I'd stack them up along my big pine tree that I have here. So that's pretty much what I used to have. I made a fire reflector with logs and stuff, but that's it. Then the first plan for the cabin was to build a kind of like a lean-to, 3-walled, semi-permanent shelter. I thought that would have been pretty cool, but then I saw how much work it was, and I started laying out the logs, and it just turns out that building a cabin would take just as long. And yeah, I think it took, I'm going to say something, 24 days total, and I built the roof, the walls, the floor, everything, and it was livable. I had my stove in it. I have everything documented, I just don't have the factual information with me right now. But every time I'd come or do some progress, even if I put like one stick down, I'd write it down. So yeah, right now, turned out I have a cabin, so that's the route that I went with. I wanted one, I was just kind of scared to start building one and never finishing it or not knowing how to do it. But turns out it's pretty simple. Change of scenery, time to talk about the cabin a little bit. Since the last question was about the cabin, I'll answer questions that I get all the time. People ask me in the comments on new videos, old videos. So what size is the cabin? I've repeated myself a bunch of times, but I get a lot of new subscribers. So the cabin is a 10 by 10. I didn't have any plans, I didn't have anything. I literally planned it out on the ground with sticks. That's all I did. I wanted a hunter trapper style cabin with a small door, a very small cabin for one, max 2 people. So that's exactly what I built. Also, people ask me about my notches. I don't have any specific notch design. I don't know, I just cut the log horizontally, top, bottom, and cut the little notch out in the back. Everything was built with 1 axe and 1 chainsaw. That's all everything took. Pretty much all my tools and a rope if you want to count dragging the logs. I didn't have any machinery or nothing to lift the logs up. So it's pretty much, as I got higher, my dad came to help me, but it's pretty much all I had was my dad's help and 4 arms, because that's all it took. If you're alone and you have to put this top log, or even just this one right here, these are very large diameter logs. Yeah, it's going to be a very hard time. I didn't have, like I said, any mechanical equipment either. So no chain block, no come along, nothing. Just my 2 legs, my 2 arms, and just myself and my brain. So yeah, nothing planned out. Just a small cabin. I cut the logs at 11 feet. So on the inside, if you minus the notches on each side, I have about maybe like 9.5, 9.75 feet width on the inside. So very small cabin. I try to depict how small it is on video, but it just doesn't really do it justice. It's just a comfortable living space, I guess. Quick close-up on the logs. Because I get this question also for people that are building first-timers, their first time building a log cabin. What type of chinking you use in the logs? I use some window and door, I guess you could say, caulking, so just standard. It's thicker than silicone, and I guess that's what I had, and it was like $2.70 a tube. Now the only available one that's similar in color is above $7 a tube, so COVID really messed things up with prices. Everything pretty much doubled and tripled. That's what I used. Mice and squirrel, I guess they could eat through it. I'm still trying to deal with that. But it is very, very hard, so they have to be motivated. They have to claw and eat through it. In the summer, it still stays just as hard. I don't know. It's very, very hard. It's pretty much like ceramic, or I don't know, like hard epoxy, because that's literally what it is. And I wanted also something, I took it brown. I know some people take it white or red, or they have multiple colors. But I just wanted it brown because, like I said, I wanted an old style looking cabin, so it looks like mud. That's exactly what I wanted. Now, popular question again, what materials did I use? So pretty much all the planks on the roof are cedar, so those are pretty costly, but that's just I was ready to spend on it just because I wanted something that was water resistant and water repellent. All the doors, I believe the floor inside the cabin, and all my little shelves, everything are pine boards. These are great. They used to be inexpensive, now they're pretty high up in price because the sawmills also cranked up the prices of the lumber. I think this one here and some on the roof here, I want to say I did them myself. I know my front porch, I did it all myself. All the planks, I milled them myself with my saw. But yeah, all the like the super flush and nice ones, those are all made by, I guess you'd say, a local guy. He's about like 45 minutes an hour away, so a little independent sawmill. So yeah, I got that from him. The logs themselves, I always get asked, well, what type of trees do you use? Can I use this? Can I use that? Honestly, I have no idea. I just use logs that I've had here. So I want to say hemlock. That's what I used. I did a little bit of research, and the trees here look like Canadian hemlocks. So I guess that's what I use, just because that's what I have. There's not many cedars, so I didn't use cedars. I know there's white pine, and there is a few white pines. For example, I think the beam of the workshop is a white pine. Those they oxidize right away with the rain. So that's why I wanted to get the cabin stained and protected as fast as possible. Yeah, so that's pretty much all I could say on materials. Apart from screws and nails, I didn't really buy anything. But like I said, from the planks. But all the logs, everything, I cut them down all one by one myself. It's a tedious process. I know people complain about, oh, save the trees and stuff. But if you cut down, let's say, a tree this size, so, I don't know, what is that, like a 6-inch? Well, the one beside it, that's a 12-inch, 20-inch, is going to get a whole lot bigger and live a whole lot healthier life. But people don't get that. I can show you guys right now, right in front of me. I have trees that are just falling over. The roots can't really go as deep as they want because there's so many other baby trees growing. So you really have to manage a forest to get it really how, I guess, humanly altered to nice. Because if it's not a plantation, usually forests, there's bushes, small trees all the time. The bigger trees that actually do something, and will do something significantly, like filter oxygen or even grow to give you lumber, they'll never get that big. They'll never be usable. So yeah, it's always important to cut down the little shrubs if possible. For me, obviously, I can't do the entire forest because it would take me forever, and I'll probably die of old age before I actually finish, and everything would grow back because conifers grow back extremely quickly. So, quick view of solar panel and the, I'm not sure if you can see, but the dog in back of me going crazy. She found the best branch again out there, and she's having a good time with it. So, solar panel. I get asked by a bunch of people, oh, you're not off grid. You have power, so you're hooked up to telephone pole. You could actually get power out of hydro, so water. There's solar, there's sun, there's wind power. There's a lot of different power sources, but people seem to think that the most common one is a power pole with a wire. So I have a whole bunch of comments of people saying that I'm an idiot, that you're just a guy in his backyard because you have power. as reference, right now I don't have power. I have a power generator that I mentioned in a previous video, but I'm having issues with it. I would like to get a new one, but it's very, very, very expensive, so I don't think that's going to happen. And my solar panel, as you can see, I would like to get another one and maybe just lay them out on the ground, because I'll be able to brush the snow off them, clean them off in the summer of debris and leaves and stuff. When it's high like this, it's pretty hard. You have to aim them down at an angle. But number one reason why I don't have power is because my battery. I picked up a 12-volt tractor battery, and they are about yay big, so like a 2-foot-long battery. It's pretty much a double car battery, and it's just dead, I guess. It doesn't really want to charge anymore. Even with the power generator, I try to charge it, it doesn't want to. So it's just old, and it's dead. So I don't have any more solar power. Sucks, but yeah, I guess that's what it is. I would need some deep cycle batteries, or some people call them marine batteries for boats. But those, even if they deplete themselves completely and they recharge, it's fine, except they're almost $300 for one battery. They are very, very expensive, and I would need maybe minimum 2 or 3, all the way up to 6. That would be awesome. And I'd have it pretty much long-term, just power, I guess. It would just be awesome to have that many batteries, and maybe 2 more solar panels, so maybe 6 batteries and 3 more solar panels. Yeah, as you can see right now, it's not, the sun isn't shining on it, but the solar panel is completely covered in snow, so useless. So I use lanterns, and if I need to, I start the power generator, but there's noise, and I don't really like noise, especially not here. In the woods, it kind of ruins it for me. So while we're on the talk of power sources, I don't know if I repeated myself or not, but if I've mentioned it in another video, but I like solar power because it's virtually soundless. There's no sound. It pretty much just soaks up the power from the sun, soaks up the light, and you could store it in batteries. The only sound that there is if you want to plug in some 110 electric appliances. So for example, like the lights I have inside, you need an inverter. If not, you could just get 12-volt lights or appliances and plug yourself straight up to a wire coming off of the battery series. So really cool. From now on, like I said, I don't have power, so I use some hurricane lanterns and some white gas lanterns if possible. I would like to get just like a little, I guess it's going to be like the white gas lantern. That's the old one that I have inside. My grandfather gave me it, that you have to pump and it gives off a huge amount of light. But a little butane canister, or even a little propane canister, and with a little light on there, those things give off a lot of light. So with 2 lanterns like that, and I have one broken hurricane lantern. So if you're wondering, I don't know if you can see it, those are the little lights behind me here. This little red lantern. This one, the glass exploded on the back of it. I don't really know why, so I just leave it outside as a little decoration. I think it looks cool. I had 3, so minus 1. Now I have 1 really big one that gives off a decent amount of light, and 1 small one, just like that, that's green, that you guys probably see in my other videos. So, like I always say, if you have any other questions, ask away in the comments. I'll do my best. I'll maybe, even if depending on the number of questions, I'll make another video, or I'll try to answer you guys individually. So thanks for watching. Hopefully I helped out a few people. So, comment, like, and subscribe if you enjoyed, and don't forget to share.